everyone, welcome to my channel. In the last videos, I have described in detail what is cell membrane, its functions and structure as well, and the components also whatever are present in cell membrane structure. So, I have described all these contents, all this stuff in the last video itself. In this video, I am going to mainly focus on the flow chart presentation of how to describe in a well manner the content of cell membrane. Students often face certain kind of confusion and issues while they are answering to certain questions. When asked in question papers, they do often forget what to write next and later. So, for the easy remembrance, I have kept forward a kind of flowchart presentation which illustrate in itself tit-to-bit views and concepts that will make you easily revise and get a proper training on that concept. So, hope you will watch the video till the end. So, let's not waste much time on just discussing about all the last contents and move on to the video. So let's start the today's content of cell membrane. But before rushing to that content, let's know what exactly is a cell. It is the structural and functional unit of life, right? So it can also be said as it is composed of a mass that includes in turn the nucleus as well as the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm, the fluid type substance that is present in which the organelles like mitochondria, ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, again divided into two types, that is smooth and rough endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies, lysosomes, peroxisomes, etc. So these are the cell organelles that are present inside the cytoplasm. So, when we consider the fluid type substance that is present external or out to these cell organelles, we call them the outer fluid substance excluding out of these organelles is called as cytosol. So, nucleus, which is a master or boss of the cell. Why do we call as it? Because it consists of the genetic materials. So, when we come to the nucleus and cytoplasm, this is the concept. When it comes to the protoplasm of this cell, what exactly does it mean? It is a living part of the cell, right? It consists of nucleus plus cytoplasm plus the cell organelles. The total poses the in a composed way it is called as the protoplasm, which is the living part of this cell. So, when we move on to the cell membrane, it says as what is cell membrane? The cell, as we know, it is a structural and functional unit of life. The mass inside the cell, the intracellular mass also composed of nucleus and cytoplasm and its cell organelles that are included in it, right? So, the cell also covers its outer boundary. The outer boundary, the external boundary that covers the cell is called as cell membrane or called as plasma membrane or plasma lemma. So, who coined the term cell membrane or plasma membrane? It's Nazelli and Kramer in the year 1855. Who coined the term plasma lemma? It is coined by the scientist Plum. So, it can also be called as plasma membrane, plasma lemma. So when we come to the thickness of the cell membrane or plasma membrane, its thickness is around 75 angstrom unit, and also it is present as the outer covering in the animal cells. Okay, but in addition to that layer, cell wall is also present as the outer protective one in plant cells, in all the plant cells. So when we discuss about the cell membrane in detail, cell membrane, its ultrastructure is also important to know before discussing the cell membrane. So what is the ultrastructure of cell membrane? It is coined by most of the scientists. Like the first concept was given by Danieli and Davison. Okay, and the third one is given by the Robertson, and the second one is given by the Robertson, and the third one is given by Nicholson and Sinzer. So which model have they proposed? So Daniel and Davison gave the model as trilamellar model or sandwich model. Robertson, unit membrane concept. Nicholson, Sinzer, the most accepted one. Till today we are reading on this ultrastructure that has been proposed by Nicholson and Sinzer. That is what the basic fluid mosaic model. So what exactly these three says? When we are going to discuss about the trilamellar model, he stated that in trilamellar model, the scientists Daniel and Davison stated that the structure of cell membrane do consist of substances like lipids and proteins, and lipids are present in a bimolecular form or layer. Proteins, they are embedded, lipids being a bimolecular form, are embedded between the two layers of proteins, forming PLLP pattern, means protein lipid lipid protein layer. The lipid part is sandwiched in between two layers of protein to form a trilamellar pattern. But he has not clarified on the point that cell membrane is a selectively permeable membrane, which is a basic feature of the cell membrane. So what is the next model given by Robertson? He also given the trilamellar model only, but he failed to discuss on how the different membranes differ in form, function and structure as well. So behind all these concepts, the next most accepted concept that comes is fluid mosaic model, kept forward by Sinzer and Nicholson. So what exactly is fluid mosaic model? When we come to the structure of cell membrane or plasma membrane or plasma lemma, the thing is that the cell membrane is a semi-fluid matrix. It is bilayered structure. It also contains substances in it like lipids, proteins, okay, and carbohydrates. So lipids, what are the constituents? Lipids like phospholipids, cholesterol, and many more, etc. And also phospholipids in turn are like phosphatidylcholine and phosphatidylethanolamine. Okay. When it comes to the proteins, they are divided on the basis of where are they present. Like they're divided as peripheral and integral or transmembrane proteins. Basing on the function they possess, they are divided as carrier proteins, structural proteins, okay, and catalytic proteins. So what are the divisions about the carbohydrates? Carbohydrates are also the constituents of structure of cell membrane. They consist glycoproteins, okay, they consist of glycolipids. They also consist of a layer of glycocalyx. The glycocalyx is also divided as the outer region or outer portion is with the glycolipid layer of carbohydrates. Outer one. When the inner one is stocked, then it is filled with glycoproteins. Okay. When we come to the structure, it consists of lipids, proteins, carbohydrates. But lipids and proteins, carbohydrates, out of these three, protein present in much amount, like it is about 55% that is present, and it is about 42%, and it carries about 3% according to the constitution of these particles in the structure of cell membrane. So these are all present in such form. So when we come to the phospholipids, they are actually double layered, right? So when we come to its layer, the head part consists of phosphate group or portion or part. The tail part consists of the lipid layer. So the head one is the polar hydrophilic or water liking part. The tail one is the non-polar hydrophobic, that is hydrophilic, in turn is hydrophobic or water repelling. Okay. So this is the structure. So what actually he has stated, who in fluid mosaic model, exactly what has been stated in this model. Fluid mosaic concept or model says that the proteins are present in a mosaic pattern. They are just like the icebergs floating in a fluid of ocean. So he classified his content as such. So he also said that this is the complete structure of lipids, proteins and carbohydrates. Phospholipid structure is also this. It consists of two layers, head, tail part, and hydrophilic, hydrophobic part as well. And later he has come to describing how the proteins are embedded in the form of mosaic pattern and also as icebergs just as floating in the fluid of ocean. So in his concept, he also described mostly what are the functions of proteins. When we come to the concept of proteins, which are about 55%, the major constituent particle or substance, of the structure of cell membrane. It functions as, they act as the transporters, receptors, okay, act as antigens for cell recognition. They act as enzymes. They also take part or act as channels for transport of water soluble and water-like substances. They also act as pumps. They act as the entire skeletal part to shape the structure of cell membrane. Okay, so they perform the activity as being transporter, as receptors, as antigens, as enzymes. They also act as channels, pumps. Also they act as the skeletal part to shape the structure of cell membrane. When we come to the cell membrane, it also holds a function same to the functions of the proteins. It also act as, its main functions also says that cell membrane functions are like, they take part in osmoregulation, okay, and also they act as to make the cell, to shape it. It ensures mechanical support. Okay, so these are the functions. So clubbing with all these functions, protein functions are also exhibited by that of what we call cell membrane. So when we come to this what we call carbohydrates, we already have discussed about the structure and how, what are they present in it. So when we come to the transport system, how is it carried in cell membrane? The transport system is carried out by effective ways, like there are three ways, like passive transport, active transport, vesicular transport. So substances, as we know that cell membrane is a selectively or differentially permeable membrane, and cell also have a highly functional component, that is cell membrane. So it also functions as such by transporting substances. It also involves a means of passive transport, active transport system and vesicular transport to transport the substances in and out of the structure of membrane. So when we consider passive transport, it do not require energy. So both the processes like osmosis and diffusion are carried here in passive transport. In active transport, as it requires, okay, energy in the form of ATP, examples can be cited as sodium pump and potassium pump. What happens is, it requires energy because to fulfill its requirements, sometimes substances also move from a region of lower concentration to high against the concentration gradient. So this movement is enlisted by use of pumps and channels, sometimes mostly pumps. So when we consider vesicular transport, it also involves the points like endocytosis, exocytosis, pinocytosis, phagocytosis. Endo, what is endocytosis? Endocytosis. Here endo means inside, and exo, which means outside. Cytosis, which means cell secretion or vomiting. So when we take exocytosis, So exocytosis means the unwanted substances are removed to outer of the surface of cell membrane by cell secretion or vomiting of certain unwanted substance. That is exocytosis. What is endo? The wanted substances that are required to the cell for further functioning are, according or depending upon the requirement, they are fetched into the cell. That is endocytosis. Endo, which means inside. What is pinocytosis? Means cell drinking. Cell drinking. What is phagocytosis? Which means cell eating. So this kind of transport systems are also resulted. So when we come to the concept of certain modifications or certain foldings in cell membrane. So cell membrane do fold in and out to form certain kinds of structures like microvilli, ciliar, okay, flagellar, this kind. And also tight junctions concept is also included in the foldings and modification of cell membrane. When we also include the vesicular transport systems like endocytosis, pinocytosis, phagocytosis, all also come under these modifications. So when we talk about the cytoskeleton of the cell membrane, then it forms, under this comes certain formation like microtubulars and microfilaments. What exactly are they? Microtubules means they form the tubular-like structure to initiate the oriented movements. Okay. And microfilaments, they are basically the non-tubular structures composed of globular actins so polymerized to form the microfilaments. Okay, so this is the cytoskeleton. So when we have a view on cell membrane, its structure, as the fluid mosaic model is the most accepted one, we do say that when we are going to systematically approach to the summary in a better way, then cell membrane, also called as plasma membrane, okay, and plasma lemma. The plasma membrane is coined, or cell membrane is coined by Naseli and Kramer, and lemma is considered is coined by Plow. When we consider this ultrastructure, the cell membrane considered as outer boundary, also called as selectively permeable membrane, which selectively or differentially allows substances in and out to maintain the stability in and out environment. So when we come to the cell membrane, it also consists of certain components like proteins, okay, lipids, as discussed previously, lipids and carbohydrates. So they are present around 55%, 42% lipids and 3% carbohydrates. So proteins again has structural carriers and catalytic, depending upon the functions. When it comes to the presence, whether it is present on surface or internal, it comes to say that they are peripheral and integral, okay, integral proteins. When it comes to lipids, phospholipids, cholesterol, phospholipids, again phosphatidyl, choline and ethylamine, these are present. And also lipids, as they are, most of substances, also we forgot to say that most of substances which are non-polar like lipids, oxygen, gases, all they diffuse through the membrane. And also most of the substances like water and these all do transport or move on through channels and pumps, some through lipid portions also. So when we come to discuss about this complete concept of cell membrane, we should know or focus upon the transport system. What is the transport system? How is it done? And also the fluid mosaic model, the fluid mosaic concept, what exactly it says, what kind of structure is constituents is present, like proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, proteins in what form, what are the functions that are enlisted under it, and also are these functions equal to the functions of cell membrane, we should also know, and also what are the functions of cell membrane in it. And when we come to the percentage of presence of these constituents, they are present as such, as just spoken by me. And when it comes to the foldings, these are the foldings and modification like microvilli, ciliar, flaccid and all it. And when it comes to the models, there are certain models like trilamellar model, Robertson model, fluid mosaic model and all this. So you have to make it in such a way that the question paper, whatever it is given, you should not panic and just write a cyclic view of all these contents that are mentioned in my paper, like cell membrane, what is it called as, like who coined it, and is it the outer covering of which cell, it's the outer covering of animal cell, but adding to it, in addition to it, cell wall is also present in all plant cells. So how is the structure of cell membrane designed? Through certain concepts given by these scientists like Danielian, Davison, Robertson, Nicholson, Sinzer, certain concepts given. So what are that contents, what are those models in detail, all it, and what are the function, why they failed and all this. And when it comes to the fluid mosaic model, what kind of constituents are possessed in it, what are their functions. So just elaborate all kind of functions and all kind of 2-bit points so that it could be focused and written well, precisely. So you can make these kind of writings, like when you write in a paper, you can also write in this form to make it well viewed, understood by who corrects or go through your paper. So I hope you have liked this video. If you have liked this video, then please do share this video and also like this video, and also comment below if there are any doubts or queries. And also I request you people to also do subscribe my channel, because your subscription matters a lot. So this is what the content that you can see through all these ways and easily get a brief idea that what exactly is a cell membrane. So first it goes on like this, and the next you are going to discuss about different models. Okay, later when it comes, you should go to the fluid mosaic model, actually what it describes, what are the function of proteins and all this. And when it comes to what are the constituents, what are the functions, as discussed by me just now, you should write all these points in such a way to score good percentage of marks. And so you're done with today's content. Hope you have liked it. So thank you.